Hey, what's going on, folks? This is Nick with ATS Knife Works, and I wanted to show you my 2x42 belt sander today. This is a Craftsmen 2x42 belt sander. It's the new version, which is a 2-wheel. As you can see, it also has a 6-inch disc sander. The disc sander works pretty good if you get the good sanding discs. You have to get 6-inch, and I would advise to only get 3M or Norton. That's the best sandpaper that you can get. Now this right here, I took this right when I got it and I sanded it all down, made it nice and flush. It is on a nice 90 degree. I put a level on it. It works pretty good. So that's one thing you got to prep up when you first get this thing. I did cut off the dust guard because how I mounted it. So this is bolted to the table. You will need to do that. Now, as far as the sanding side, something very important that you have to do is you have to cut off this guard that's down here. Otherwise, your thicker belts, your 50 grit, your 36 grit belts are not going to work, or at least they're going to rub on that bottom part. So you have to cut that off. The other part too is just ditch the guard that covers the belt. You don't need that. Plus makes changing belts a lot quicker. So the belts I do use are for grinding steel. I use Norton. This is the Norton Blaze orange belts. Very distinctive when you buy them. You just look up the Blaze belts. For anything above setting the bevels and blending, I use the aluminum oxide, and these are the Trizact by 3M. Great belts also. They're expensive, but they're much worth it. So for my platen, this was also a very important part. The platen, it's worth the $15 to buy this and some JB Weld and put on a glass ceramic platen. What I've done is I took this, I straightened it out in the vise so it was all straight, and then I sanded it all down, made it perfectly flat, and well, it's not perfectly flat, but you know, I got it as flat as I could. I took these 2 bolts here, 2 square bolts, screwed them in, and I sanded these down until they were shorter than the platen. I took the platen and leveled it out as much as I could, and I put JB Weld behind it and made it flat. So this is going to be the #1 thing you need to do with this grinder. The one thing I have not done, and you might see in some videos, is my tracking knob. I have a buddy that's going to make a little attachment here so I can twist it in and out without having to mess with this nut. So if you look right here, what you have to do is to track it, you have to loosen it or tighten it, and what happens is when you loosen it, this bolt comes loose, and then you just have to tighten up the bolt too, so it's not very effective. But overall, it's been, you know, it's a learning experience with this thing. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you get a $1,500 grinder to start out with, or if you get a $150 grinder, you will suck at grinding. So just go ahead and start with what you can afford and move up. So that's what I did. I research every day about tips and tricks on how to grind. So I mean, if that's what you guys want to do, I would totally advise you guys to start with this, as long as you took my advice and that with the platen. Alright, you guys, and the belts too. Get good.